Hello and welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for March of 2023. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
I'm Julia Mijas, and I'm in San Francisco, California.
Let's take a look at what's happening for you in March. Happy birthday, Pisces. If you haven't gotten your yearly birthday reading yet, it's not too late to benefit from a thorough look at your solar return birthday chart. It tells you all about the year ahead, and it comes with fantastic affirmations you can use all year to create your best life. You'll find a link for it in the YouTube description below. I would like to start with two of our favorite asteroid goddesses, Juno and Ceres, but most especially with Ceres because she's very busy going retrograde right now. Ceres has to do with finances. She's about the things that connect us to the physical world, our bodies, our food and eating, our self-care habits and rituals, and our money too. And whenever Ceres goes retrograde, these things can become kind of a mess. We can find ourselves unraveling a bit in terms of our physical self-care. We can find ourselves needing to return to old habits that we had let fall apart. And that can have to do with how we run our money, how we budget, spend, save, so forth. And also how we, take care of our bodies, like brushing our teeth every day and taking showers and, vitamins and things like that. Now, in this particular case, Ceres is going retrograde this year in Libra in your 8th house. And this is a house of monies that you share with another person or with a pool with a group. This is a house of investments. and that can mean emotional investments as well as financial investments. So it's a house of how we connect intimately with others. And we can often feel like things of this house are beyond our control. And so it can be distressing when Ceres goes retrograde in the 8th house, because you might find that there's something wrong with your investments, that you're running, whether that's like an IRA or whether that's, stocks and bonds or trading that you do, or cryptocurrency, really any form of financial investing. Things might go awry, and this is a transit which is going to last for a couple of months. It's going to last into early May. This is a really good opportunity to just spiff up and get shipshape all of your procedures that are in any way financial and intersect with other people and their decision-making process. So finding your way to a better balance with that stuff is really a thing to do. And I want to say also that the 8th house, it can be a house of addiction. So be very careful about falling into or having your some, perhaps hard-won health habits eroded by a bender of some kind while Ceres is here. And that could be the reason that propels you, back to the drawing board to, get back on that really good diet, or, otherwise take better care of your physical self for longevity. Then the other goddess I want to talk about is Juno, and she sits right here in your 2nd house, starts out the month in Aries right here. Juno is a very social goddess. She is known as the Queen of Heaven. She's a social networker. She is about collaboration and partnership in all of its forms, but most particularly committed partnership, and she's quite the matchmaker too. She starts the month in your 2nd house, and I won't belabor it because I mentioned this last month, when she first entered into this house. But this is a financial domain. This is a domain of all things Ceres, actually. So this is a very grounded and practical house. And while Juno is here, making practical adjustments to your partnerships is really good to do. And engaging in a good shared life of the body with somebody that you're in a committed partnership with, that's also a great activity, as long as Juno is in the second house. Cooking up some great meals together, for example. Juno is going to move on into the third house. And when's that going to be? Around March 11th, or possibly the 12th, depending on your time zone. But there she is, sitting there in the third house. And the third house is a house of communication. It's a house of words and language and connecting. And it also has to do with your local environment, the people right around you, and the activities that you do on a daily basis. And so Juno here in the third house suggests that you may be doing more networking and connecting in your local environment. And then you might also bring that neighborly feel into your committed relationship if you're in one. And so this is a really great transit for improving the communication between you and your partner, whether that's a spouse or a business partner, actually, and paying close attention to how you communicate and getting your words all the way across the net into the other one's court, and waiting for them to lob them back to you. So communication is a really great thing to work on and improve while Juno is here in the third house. Hey, Julia, what is up with Venus, Mercury, and Mars for the Pisceans of the world this month?
Well, hey there, Pisces. We'll start with Venus. Wherever we have Venus in our chart is where we tend to experience more pleasure that month. So people generally like to hear about Venus. So she starts the month in your second house. This is a house of sensuality. It's a house that also rules your money and all of your favorite things too. So Venus in the second house has a tendency to attract things to her, especially things that she likes, like new possessions or even a little bit of money. So it can be a good time for getting more money from your job, for example. Now, Venus in the second can also be a time where you just want to luxuriate a lot more. Maybe you want to go, treat yourself to more like fancy meals or good massages. But, it's a very sensual time period. So you're really kind of enjoying what your body and the world has to offer for it. Then by March 16th, Venus enters your third house. This house represents your neighborhood and your siblings and little short journeys too. So this is a wonderful time for the second half of the month to take a pleasure trip. And you might find that you're really kind of enjoying your community a lot more. If there's any kind of event going on, or you can get together with neighbors, really wonderful time for it and a good way to socialize. And if you have been, maybe in the past not getting along well with your brothers or sisters, Venus in the third house is a wonderful time to bring more harmony to your relationships with your siblings as well. Now, Mercury, for the first day of the month, is in your 12th house, but he mainly spent last month in the 12th. This is a house of isolation where maybe you were kind of keeping your ideas and communication, which are ruled by Mercury, more to yourself. But by March 2nd, Mercury enters Pisces, which is your first house. So this is going to happen for a little over 2 weeks. So about, early in the month to about the 18th, it's a very good time, especially if you have to make an intellectual first impression on people. Like if you need to impress people with your words or your ideas, it can be a really good time for, let's say, going to a job interview, or a wonderful time if you have to do any type of speaking and articulate yourself well. Then by the 18th, Mercury enters your second house. And this is actually a good time, especially since tax season is coming up, to get all of your financial affairs in orders, because Mercury represents your planning, your strategizing, your analytical side of your mind. And the second house is a house of money and possessions. It can also be a good time for buying and selling something, maybe working out a good financing deal, so to speak. Now, finally, I will say there's some good news here because Mars is moving out of your fourth house, and it's been in your fourth house for what seems like forever because it's done a whole retrograde cycle in this house. So, really, it's been in your fourth house since about late fall last year. But many, many months, way longer than Mars usually spends per house because of that retrograde cycle. Now, the fourth house is a house of family and home. So this may have been a particularly frustrating cycle, especially having to deal with your family or the people you live with. Mars in the fourth house can also kind of run into problems and challenges around the home. Maybe you've had to redo things a number of times in all of the sort of domestic areas of your life. Mars in the fourth can also be a time where you might get itchy and irritated about things that happened a long time ago, because the fourth house can also rule the past. So, particularly frustrating time at home, and it's nice to see Mars moving into a different house. So, on March 25th, Mars goes into your fifth house, and it's going to be there for the last week of the month and then all of next month, too. The fifth house do represent your children if you have any children, and it's also a house of fun and games. So Mars in the fifth house generally is a time where people just feel a lot more driven to have fun than necessarily get down to their work and responsibilities. If you have a creative side, you could get just totally wrapped up in what you're doing, and it's a great time for just outputting a lot of energy into creative work. If you do anything recreational that's active, this is a wonderful time for it. Like if you play any sports games or you even enjoy just watching sports. It can be a frustrating time with children if you do have any children, maybe not seeing eye to eye with them, maybe having a little bit more conflict than usual. And if you're dating too, maybe a little bit frustrating. You can get kind of annoyed or irritated with some of your dates with Mars in the fifth house.
Yes, so true. So I have a couple of moons to report about and a seasonal change. The first of these moons happens on or around March 7th. It is a full moon in Virgo, landing right here in your seventh house. Now, full moons have a tendency to be relational. They can be occasions for taking on the moon for yourself and experiencing the sun coming at you in the form of another person, or vice versa, which is more likely to be the case this time because the sun is in Pisces. That moon in Virgo landing in your seventh house might look like your partner. So your partner might be living into and embodying this moon in Virgo. So we're calling this moon in Virgo shape and mold in your quirky way. And it's kind of a lovely new full moon for organizing things, for handling the details, sifting through the fine matter of a project. It has a gorgeous trine to Uranus. That's where the word quirky came from. It also has a sextile to Pallas Athena, and the sun trines Pallas Athena and sextiles Uranus. So lots of harmony in this moon. There is some stress in the form of Mars squaring the moon, bringing in some irritation and frustration. But in the main, this is a moon that is really all about the wonderful feeling of deep concentration that you can have when you are finding God in the details. And it may be that you're enjoying that, or it may be that your partner is enjoying that, or that you're enjoying it together as a team. And that would be a really great way to spend this moon and the couple of days surrounding it. The next thing that happens is that the sun leaves Pisces and moves into Aries right about on the 20th. And then right away comes into a conjunction with the moon, but I'll speak to the seasonal change first. When the sun moves into Aries, the year starts over, right? It's the time when spring begins. It is the equinox, and there's such a bold and fresh feeling to the sign of Aries. Now, for you, this energy moves into your second house, which is actually Ceres' house. It's a house of all things physical world. food, body, money, the ways that we intersect with the physical, and the stuff that we need to take care of and be a good steward of so that we can have, a long and healthy life. And there's a lot of energy and vigor in this house because of all of these planets clustering here in Aries. So I think that it is important to pour high quality attention into your body and how you cultivate it and how you take care of it while the sun is passing along through this house. And also, just because you have Aries here on the second house cusp and lots of Aries planets, I think that some of that cultivation should be about looking to inflammation that may be happening in your body and doing what you can to reduce it. That could be a really smart move while the sun is moving along through the second house. And then this moon here in the second house, with the moon joining the sun there in early Aries, we're calling it clear your head and begin your expedition. This has very much the qualities of birth. It's very vigorous, very exciting, just a very powerful moon. And it has a lot of sticking power too, because there's a lovely sextile between Pluto and this moon. So Pluto gives some sticking power, some relentlessness, some extra oomph and force behind this otherwise impulsive, hasty, and perhaps not very well thought out moon. So this is a really good moon for birthing something new, fanning that spark into a flame, and getting ready to, build it up into something really big that can inspire a lot of people. And that's a really great way to spend this moon. It also involves Ceres. It opposes Ceres. So some of those really practical themes to do with balance and health are good to incorporate into this moon. So, don't go crazy with your impulsive behaviors, even though this moon is saying go, 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 but balance it with some, grounded principles, a la this series over here.
If you love Pandora Astrology's free and informative horoscopes, please do hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share our horoscopes with your friends.
Horoscopes are fun, but they're also really general. If you want to explore this month's themes more personally, we'd love to meet with you in a real live reading where you can gain powerful insights and learn what you need to make the big decisions in your career, family, or relationship. You'll find the link in the description below. Enjoy this beautiful springtime, and until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos.
Bye-bye.